So there's a puzzle with memories. So when we have bad experiences, we can keep remembering them, and they can keep impinging on the present moment and really inhibiting and restricting our life. And the challenge then, once we tune into that, is how to get our habits correct, how to get a secure lifestyle, how to live properly, how to get good habits rather than bad habits. Some people don't want good habits. They're happy with their bad habits. But then the result comes in how you lived your life. Okay, but the good thing is, if you have a disease, if you have a problem, every little bit of light you can experience today, if you make today, if you have 2 minutes more happiness or light today, that's going to be 2 minutes more light in your memories up to tomorrow. When you're remembering back, you can have a little bit more light in your memory. So if you're living properly and you're creating light, every day light is going back into your memories, and it's changing and transforming the positiveness of your memories. That's healing. So if you keep thinking every day, oh, I got this bad back, oh, I've got this bad thing, you're empowering the negative memory. But if you're getting a little bit of light, and you're doing things, you're not festering on it, wow, you're really using the moon to heal things. And the body's an incredible place of healing. So when we're in tune, we're healing. When we're out of tune, we're not. The planet, well, when we're looking at the planet in a sign, we're going to see the attitudes that we pick up, the coloring, the attitudes, the biases that we naturally pick up according to our moons, and the biases that we begin to reflect on the past and on what's secure or not. This is the moon. So as we go through the signs, we're starting to now see how the moon is affected by the signs. This is really useful, perceptive things in understanding life, understanding how to heal what's normal. Because what's normal security for someone with a moon in Capricorn is very, very different than what's secure for someone with a moon in Scorpio. They're just different. And yet there's a certain amount of what's security. So, okay, this is the moon, and then there's Mercury, next level. The moon is a 30-day cycle, 30 days from 28-day cycle, 27.5. But from new moon to new moon, it's a 30-day cycle, but it's 1 month. But Mercury is an 88-day cycle. So in terms of security, you go through 1 month phases. The period cycle is a moon cycle. And the new moons to the full moons, but we have our bias towards it. Then we have our Mercury, which is how we're thinking. Mercury is an 88-day cycle. It takes us 3 months, 3 moon cycles to begin to make sense of it and to try to figure out how to manipulate the moon cycles to get Venus what we want, to do what we want to do, and to feel secure about them. So Mercury is always trying to figure out things, make sense out of the memories, and project them into the future. Doesn't always do it properly, but it's extending it. We have different degrees of intelligence. Mercury is the principle of intelligence. It's not intelligence, it's alertness. How alert are you? How coordinated are you? How clear are your nervous systems? If you're eating well and you're living well, boy, it's much easier to think clearly and positively. If you're eating badly or drinking, you're not going to think right. So it's hard to say what exactly Mercury is, but we certainly can see its presence. We certainly can see how it's affected. And we have different attitudes that affect the way we think. This is huge. And there's some, like you can be with anybody. You can get along with anybody, as long as you're not trying to change them. They're working through that. They have to work through that. Okay, they're being nasty. That's their problem. I'm not doing that. I'm living this way. So the way we think, so how we feel and how we live, how we think inwardly, how we make sense out of things, these are powerful factors in a person's being. And then the Mercury, then we get to the next one, and there's 12 signs. Each one has its 6 or 7 levels of depths that will we'll start to elaborate on how this works for you. When we get up to Venus, Venus is the 10-month cycle, 225 days, or 240, something like that. It's 10 months. And it's the planet of choose, like you have your memories, you have certain things that feel secure and not secure. You're thinking about, this is secure, this happened before, I got hung, lights went out, I can cry, people will come back, or you scream, you get fed. different things. Your habits get set from your parents, your way of thinking about it, and your Venus is deciding, I like this or I don't like this. I love this. I like I love dessert. I hate the main course meals. I love to be hugged. I hate it if everyone ignores me. You know, so our sense of what we like or don't like is the Venus. This is a whole other level of how we choose things, what we want, what we like. It affects our glands. It affects our throat, and it's everybody has their voice to talk. Or so. How do you know what you want? How many choices do you make in a daytime of what you'd like? I prefer to wear this than that. I prefer this or that. I'll have 2 sugars in my coffee. I'll have only this day, or have this. We make thousands of choices in a day. What we're going to wear, what we're going to do, what we're going to say, how we're going to look with people. So Venus is always functioning, and really, when it wants something, it tries to seduce the Mercury and the Moon to make the lifestyle, everything to align to get what it wants. And when it doesn't get what it wants, it tempts the Mercury and the Venus, and Mercury and the Moon. It tempts them to get negative and be negative because it's not acceptable that the princess isn't getting what she wants. There's a princess in everyone. So we started with, how beautiful do you think you are? How handsome? How worthy are you? This process of magnetism, of what you attract and what you're repulsed by. We think of Venus as love and hate, but it's really what you're attracted to and what you're repulsed by. There's always a storm. There's 2 sides to it always. It's never rarely indifferent. So this is Venus, and it's going to have a bias to certain signs, and it's going to want certain things more than others. And we start to see the setup, to seeing the texture of how to understand these things more deeply for each individual person. Okay, from there, these are the inner planets. Then we get up to the sun. And the sun, it's not really, the sun should be lighting this whole thing up. There should be I'm just showing the level of it, but really the sun is so big and shedding light, it's just pouring light up and down this pillar, pouring it through it. So it's the most radiant thing. It's your confidence, it's your ego, it's your sense of importance. It's when the moon pulls you into the past, the sun gives you importance to feel, this is important, I'm going to the future, I have to take care of this. This has to be me. So it's the confidence you step into the future with. So we meet people, half of us are confident as the sun, we have a bit of confidence, we have a sense of security, they're tied with each other. And we have different attitudes between them, and there's just between the sun and moon, there's 144 different types of psychological patterns only between the sun and moon. Now, if you study astrology, psychology, you get to maybe, there's 32 types of people, 8 types of people, 16 types, maybe 12 types, sometimes 10. At the most, you rarely ever run across 24, maybe 32 types. Rarely will psychology go beyond 32 stereotypes. And this is just the beginning of the surface of astrology with all the possible patterns and unique configurations for life, a much more sophisticated DNA. So then there's the sun, then it builds up. We're just going to go through to Mars, which is your energy and how you put out energy and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to make happen. It's your desire to accomplish something, your desire to push something, your desire to control something, your desire to fight for something. Venus is really what you want. It seduces your inner mind and your habits to make, we want to have this. And all of these planets gang up and try and tell the sun, we got to have this. And then the sun goes with confidence and goes and does it, puts it onto Mars, and you put the energy out. And how you put your energy out is what are you prepared to do to get what you want? After you're satisfied, what do you do? Some people, after they make love, they'll fall asleep, whether they take care of the other person or not. Some people, like, how much you put out, how much can you give, how much you take, what are you going to put, how your energy is going to affect people anyways. How strong are you? How weak are you? Nobody's equal. We all have different levels of strength, power, fitness, and then we make different choices of what we do with that strength or with those muscles. So we put, Mars is about putting the energy out. We have a different attitude to it by the sign it's in. So you can see just simply by the sign, you're already seeing a very clear idea of how that planet will work. But to understand the signs and realize there's all these categories or layers, as you begin to see each planet in each of the layers, it will really embellish and open up the flower of meaning of each planet. So for all the things you do, by the time you're 2 years old, you've done this, you've learned to stand up, you've gone and you run here, you've done this, you've kicked this, you've broke that, you've done things, and you're too young to understand. You don't start understanding until you're about 12, maybe 6 when you start school, but really 12 when it's a Jupiter cycle. So Jupiter is your comprehension of where you come from, what you can do, what you can get away with, what you can't, how far you can push things, how far you can't. Some people who push things get hurt and say, I don't want to push anymore. That's Saturn coming in, saying caution. Some people will push and they'll get off on it and they won't listen to the Saturn and they'll just keep pushing and they can get accidents and hurt themselves, or they can accomplish things. Many athletes have to push things. We all do. We all have our strength. A person could be handicapped at birth or cerebral palsy, and it looks like they can't do anything, but they still have their will. They're still fighting for inches around what they can do. So the desire, Mars is a desire for experience. I want to have this experience. I want to have done that. I want to ride the bike. I want to drive the car. I want to have sex. I want to have a kid. I want to have these different desires. So we go for, this is what we go for, how we do things. And there's an attitude that we have. The sign that comes in is the attitude that conditions the way we use our energy and the way we try and do things, the good and the bad of it. The dumb, the dumber, the dumbest of it, or well, I like the good and the bad, or the light and the dark of it. You can do things, if you do things, it's not wrong to be strong, but if you use your strength and you hurt other people, it's going to come back on you. So Jupiter is the process of understanding that what you put out comes back. If you put out anger, you're going to get anger back. But what you don't put out also comes back. So if you see someone being hurt and you don't help, well, there'll be a time coming when you need it and nobody will help you either. So this idea, Jupiter can be very compassionate and wise, but often it's tied up with distorted and biased understandings that haven't quite matured, because it takes life experiences to mature the Jupiter. And that's wisdom.